Titan, and I have an idea that I think could be really cool for my next crochet project. I've had this idea since like the summer of 2025. I just didn't get around to crocheting it last year, but I think now's the time. But let me tell you about my idea. So if you don't know what Attack on Titan is, it is a very popular anime. It is adapted from a very popular manga, which is like essentially like a Japanese comic book basically. And an anime is like a animated, typically Japanese show, TV show. And Attack on Titan is extremely popular. I only started getting into anime in like 2024, I think towards the end of 2024, so I've not been in the game for that long, but I have watched a lot of the kind of like typically well-known animes. Attack on Titan is a really cool and complex storyline, and it is one of the first ones I watched with my partner. I think it was like maybe the third or fourth anime I watched in general, and it is absolutely mind-blowing, but like in the best way possible. I think it's such a cool story, and the way it's executed in the anime is so fun. The animation is cool, the characters are cool, it's complex, it's dark, it's got like very light-hearted humorous moments to it. It's just all round an incredibly brilliant story, and it's also told in a brilliant way. And so getting on to what I actually want to crochet, so the main character Eren Yeager is part of like the Scout Regiment, which is like a military, I guess, I don't even know what the phrasing would be, like a, yeah, like a military training sort of regiment corps. I can't remember if it's like part of the uniform or if it's just something that he wears, but he basically wears this top, and it's like a long sleeve top, just like a regular top, and it's got like a tiny little v-neck, and it has these little ties at the top. I remember seeing these kind of tops in like the 90s and growing up and stuff with this little style, whether it was like a tank top, a long sleeve top, whatever. I remember this design, and I remember when I was watching it I was like, that would make a cool top, like I could make a top like that and it would look really fun. But I specifically want to turn it into a tank top, which I am preemptively calling the Titan tank. I think it's gonna be really fun. I really want to crochet myself a fun little tank top for the summertime, because I feel like I have like a lot of strap tops, I've got a lot of like kind of really cool intricate pieces, but I just want like a regular tank top that I can wear and throw on with kind of like many and any of my summer outfits. I don't want it to be like super high necked, I don't want it to be like super booby, I just want it to be like a nice regular cropped tank top that is gonna see me through the spring and summer. I can maybe layer it in the colder months as well. Getting onto the actual yarn, I have quite a lot of scrap cotton yarn, or like leftover cotton yarn. Some of it is from older projects. I have some that I've got left over from 2 dresses that I've made, some from other tops and like other projects, some that I have frogged from other projects as well. But I have like a decent accumulation in like a fair few fun and funky colors, and they're all like irregular amounts. There's not really much consistency with the amounts I've got, and yeah, I just want to create a fun little color palette. So that's what I'm going to be doing on this vlog. Hopefully you'll stick around for the journey. I think it'll be, in terms of the construction, relatively simple. I just have to decide on like color placement and the stitch that I want to use and stuff like that, and like the sizing I want to go for. So yeah, let me show you what yarn I've picked up and my color palette. So this is my color palette. Like I said, I'm working with lots of scrap and leftover random little bits of yarn, and yeah, this is the palette that I've put together with the little leftovers and stuff that I had. I was hoping, so I knew that I had like basically these kind of sandwich bags of scrap yarn, and if you've seen any of my like yarn organizing videos, you probably would have seen these bags in my drawers and been like, what the hell is that? But it's because this is what it looks like, and I don't want this like bustling around in my yarn drawer. I think it just makes more sense to put it all in a corresponding bag, and I happen to have some nice sealed sandwich bags, so here we are. But yeah, I was kind of hoping that the scrappy leftovers of yarn that I had would be in itself enough to crochet a tank top. I don't think the scrappy bits I have left over in these 3 colors, which is all the very scrappy bits, to make a whole tank top. So I have incorporated these other 2 colors, which I think will like bulk out a little bit. I don't have consistent amounts in any of these yarns. I think the most color I've got is in this kind of like goldish color, but yeah, I'm just gonna have a little play around with it. This orange is leftover yarn from a project that I haven't actually shared with you yet. So if you follow me on social media, you know that my queen bee top is currently being pattern tested, and I've decided to kind of document the process of me pattern testing this pattern. And if you're interested in seeing that vlog and the new queen bee top I crocheted, then be sure to subscribe, because I will post it on here at some point. And yeah, so this is leftover from that that colorway. It's a really nice turmeric, darkish, rusty orange shade. Not super deep, it's more on like the pumpkin side. But yeah, that's the first color. This lilac you may recognize if you are familiar with my channel. I have used this for so many projects. I've used this for my first one of my first ever crochet dresses, which is like a fun little lace dress. I also use it for my slightly little dress that I made for myself when I went to All Points East Festival last year. I think that's all I've used it for so far, but I don't know how I've still got a fair bit of this yarn left. How much did I buy of this in the first place? I actually don't know. I think I maybe bought like 1,000 grams of it, or like a kilogram technically, of this yarn, presuming that that would be like what I needed for a dress. But I managed to make 2 dresses out of it, and I've still got like not a decent amount, but I think I've got like 3 skeins of it left, and these are 50-gram skeins. So yeah, somehow I've still got more of this lilac, but I think it goes really nicely with the color palette. This top dark maroony purple is leftover from a old project, and I think I mentioned this on like maybe one of my crochet day vlogs from last year, but I had a vertical wavy top that I crocheted myself, I think like I want to say in the first year of me crocheting. And it's funny because it was essentially basically like a prototype, or I didn't know at the time, but it turned out to be like a prototype of my now wave hello top. But yeah, I made a top with actually both of these colors, the purpley magenta sort of color and this like goldy slight mustard shade. I made a vertical wave top, and it was just like a bog standard, you know, horizontal, like no straps, no fun construction or anything, a wavy top. And once I'd made it, I was like, the fit of this is not really like fitting how I wanted, so I did frog the whole project, and that's why these 2 colors are in the little like sandwich bags, because I have so much of it left over because I've not used it for anything. So you can probably tell as well that it is frogged yarn. It's not as straight as the others as well, but I did wear this top a few times, but then I realized once I kind of got a bit better at crocheting that it's actually kind of shit. The construction wasn't great, the execution wasn't great, so I was like, I know I'll be able to, like, it was a cotton yarn, all of this is 100% cotton, so I was like, I don't really want to like waste it in a project that I don't really like, so I know that if I frog it and have it, I can use it for something else. And then the final color, which is this really nice like deep turquoisey shade, is leftover from my diamond in the rough cardigan, which was actually already frogged from a different project. So my diamond in the rough cardigan used to be a like front tie full kind of cardigan with like another color, and I just did the sizing not so great. If you watch the diamond in the rough cardigan vlog, I think I have a picture of what that cardigan used to look like on that vlog. But yeah, I frogged all the yarn ages ago, and again I knew that I wanted to use it for something. I put it towards my diamond in the rough cardigan, and I have a little bit left, not a huge amount, I think like maybe two and a bit of these like size balls. But yeah, this is going to be the color palette that I make this top with. I think it's really fun. It's going to be very scrappy. It's going to be like probably stripes, I'm thinking. I think I'm going to find like a nice fun stitch as well, and yeah, I think it's going to look really cute. I'm unsure how to kind of like spread the colors out, if that makes sense, because like I said, I don't have like a consistent amount in each of these colors, and I would like to have all of the colors throughout the top. I don't want it to be like, oh, I've only got blue on like the first few rows and then it doesn't appear again afterwards, sort of thing, because I like the combination of all of them. I think like all of them together just looks really, really nice, and I don't want any part of the top to not have any of these colors. So yeah, that's a very long-winded intro, long-winded way to say I'm crocheting a tank top with these fun colours inspired by Attack on Titan. And yeah, now I'm going to go practice some stitches and I will show you what I come up with. Okay, so I practiced some stitches. This container looks fucking nuts. Working with scrap yarn is always quite funny because it does just like, it looks like a bomb has gone off because there's so many little balls and ends and stuff like that. So yeah, I'll do my best to make sure it doesn't get a bit too cray, but it does look a bit wild in there. So I've tried 3, let me move this open safety pin out of the way so I don't stab myself, but I have tried 3 different stitch patterns that I really like the look of, that I think could be really cute for this top. And the way that I've done like the stitch kind of, well, the colors, is that I know that this is the color that I have the most of, this kind of like gold mustardy sort of yellow but brown based color. Can you even see? Is it focused? But yeah, this is the one that I have the most of, and I know with the others it's more limited amounts. So what I'm thinking is doing 2 rows of that color, 1 row of all the others, then 2 rows of that color, and then kind of doing that like on rotation basically. So I'm not sure if that's going to work, because with this color, for example, I really don't have a lot of it. I've got like, yeah, not a lot actually, like this amount and another one, like another ball of this size. With the lilac I don't have a lot, with the orange I don't have a lot. It might be that some of the other colors I use a little bit more heavier, or that this goldy color is used a little bit more heavier kind of throughout. Haven't quite decided, will obviously depend on what stitch I go for, but none of these stitches are like yarn eaters, I don't think, or they don't feel like yarn eaters, so hopefully it shouldn't be too bad. So yeah, let me show you stitch number 1. This one I think is like my favorite. This is like in the front runner. This is the front runner for me so far. It's a really nice like textured stitch, and I think like with the stripes of each stitch color it looks really fun. So it's not like a shell stitch, it doesn't have like, it has chain spaces, but it's not super gappy, it's not tight either, it still feels really nice and airy, but where there is chain spaces I can see my skin through it, but I'm not like exposed, you know. So I really like this one. It's also double crochets, so it's a kind of like tall stitch, and it's not going to take me like a million years to work up, because it is a fine yarn. I'll be using a 3mm hook. I don't want this project to take me longer than it needs to be, and as much as I love a fine yarn and a short stitch, with this top I do want it to be a little bit looser of a gauge almost, so I do want ideally like taller stitches. So I think this looks really good. This is kind of what I meant with like the way I did the colors and like the rotation that I did. I think this looks really cute, and I think like if I was to then do the blue and then the purpley color and then the orange and then the lilac and like carry it on, that could look really nice. But I do think that I will run out of at least the blue pretty early on. I'm not sure about the layout of it, but I do really like it because it kind of looks like a small zigzag as well, very subtle sort of zigzag. So yeah, this is like my front runner for now. That's my favorite one. And then stitch number 2, if I can untangle it, is this one. I really like this, and I think this is very cool, but it's a little bit too loosey-goosey. The gauge is a little bit too open for me. There's too many kind of chain spaces in there, and like you can 100% see my skin through it. Like there's literal like holes from the chain spaces, which is fine, but it's just not something that I want basically with this top. I think it's beautiful though, and it's like really nice and stretchy, like particularly vertically it's really nice and stretchy, but I just think it's a bit too open of a stitch for me. It does look really cool. I really love the texture that it's created. I really love the way the colors are striping as well. I think it looks really fun. Another reason why I'm not like super in love with this one is that it uses like front post stitches, and that creates a little bit too much bulk for me. It's not like thick by any means, but it is thicker than I would like it to be, and it's a bit more of a denser fabric than I would like it to be. I do want something a little bit more on the kind of daintier side, but without being like super short and tight stitches. So yeah, this is beautiful and I really like it. I just don't think I like it for this top. So that's option number 2. And then option number 3, and it's funny, like when I was doing this I was kind of like, I feel like this is just the same as number 1, but I was like, let me actually just like follow through and do the swatch sort of thing. But it's very similar, really similar to option number 1, but it's just single crochets. Like the stitches are a lot shorter, but you do still kind of get this like V sort of formation, and as well it does kind of create this like almost like shell finish sort of thing, and it does kind of again look like tiny zigzags in the little stripes that it creates. As much as I love this and I think it looks beautiful, because it basically is just like a shorter version stitch wise of the other stitch pattern, I just like, I'm not really in the mood to do it, you know. So you can kind of see them side by side. There are definitely a lot of similarities, but I do think as well with this the first one I showed, the kind of like zigzaggy pattern is almost like a bit more defined than this one. Like this kind of looks like little V flowers, this kind of looks like waves, like ripples, zigzag sort of thing. So they are definitely similar but also very different, which I think is beautiful. So I do really love this stitch. I think it's beautiful, I think it's gorgeous. I think especially with a fine yarn could look sickening. I'm just not really in the mood. I'm not really in the mood, so I think I'm gonna go with stitch number 1. I think it's gonna look really fun. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm unsure what kind of construction I'm going for. I think I might work in the round, because I think with anything striped, like I don't always, like I don't mind it, like I've done it with a lot of my other tops, but I don't always like joining panels when there's lots of different color changes, because I just don't like seeing the stitch, the joining stitch. I know it's like kind of unavoidable, and obviously like if I wasn't using scraps and like leftover yarn, then it wouldn't be a problem. But I think if I work in the round and then like split off for when I'm kind of like doing the bust and the back bit, I think that could look really fun. That's my update. Like I said, I think I'm gonna go for stitch number 1. I think it's really cute. Just got to figure out the colors now, but then we can get started. I made it too small. I've been working on this for like an hour and a half, I think, and I just put it over my head and I could not get it over my tits. So yeah, I made it too small, but I really like the stitch pattern and the colours look really fun together. I'm also like not the biggest fan of the colour rotation that I've currently done. What I'm planning on doing, which I think, I can't remember if I mentioned, but I have different amounts of each colour of yarn, but the most colour I have is this kind of like goldy, mustardy sort of colour. So that's going to be like the bulk of the colour, and then I'm just going to do like random amounts of each throughout, because I don't think I'll be able to kind of consistently do like, you know, 1 row of each colour or however many rows of each colour throughout the whole top. And I do want each colour to be throughout the whole top. I don't want it to kind of look like one colour just stops at a certain point. That's not really the vibe I'm going for. Yeah, so I think I'm going to just shake it up a little bit. I want it to be random, but I don't want it to look as consistent as this currently does. And it's quite like weird whenever I do a stripy kind of situation, but the number of rows is different, because it is like, oh, it's random, but then it also, in my mind, I'm like, I do need to place it almost quite intentionally at the same time. So it's like a little mixture of both, where I'm just going by vibes, but I also need to curate the vibes, if that makes sense. So yeah, I have made it too small, so unfortunately I'm gonna have to frog the work that I've done, but I do like how it's coming together. I like how the stitch pattern looks. I like how all the colors look together. But yeah, I think I'm just gonna kind of amend the size, obviously, but also the number of like stitch kind of rows that I'm doing. It's no big deal. It was a risk, and annoyingly, once I did the first row, I did put it over myself and I was like, it's fine, but it's a tiny bit snug. But now I've done like more rows, I kind of just like did that and I was like, oh, that doesn't really even go over my tits. So yeah, gonna have to frog it, redo it, but that's fine. I'm watching a movie and yeah, gonna frog, restart. That's my update. Okay, here is my little update from yesterday. It looks so much better. So I definitely just made it too small. It probably fit like more around here, whereas this one does wrap around a little bit more. It does have a little bit of stretch to it, which I'm accounting for on like the bust area. But I do want it to be, in terms of like the fit that I'm going for, I want it to be not fitted but also not super loose. I just want it to almost like stretch over my bust and then just kind of like fit me regularly on my waist. So that's kind of the fit I'm going for. So it is like, you know, it's not super loosey goosey on the bust, and I have put it over myself without like a top on, and it does comfortably fit over my bust where it's like fitted, and then the rest will be just like regular kind of fit. So yeah, it's looking a lot better. I am really glad with the kind of like differences in the color changes as well. I have gone for like more of a random sort of spread of the different colors, the goldy color being the more prominent one because that's the one I got the most yarn in. Because I am working in the round, I am using more yarn than I'm kind of like expecting to use at like this width of the top, but I need to remember that this is like the whole top sort of thing, and it's not just one panel or anything. So I'm kind of like looking at the yarn being like, oh, I'm like with certain colors I'm like running a bit lower than I was expecting to. So it's not the end of the world. I do think I will have enough yarn. I am going for a cropped fit, so it'll probably sit maybe like around here. I do want to show like a little bit of tummy. So yeah, I probably, in terms of length, I've like just reached my bust, and I've got, I'd say maybe about like double the amount. Yeah, I'd say double the amount because I don't want it to be like particularly booby, and then I can start doing the little V for the kind of like detail, the tassel detail at the front. But yeah, I'm really loving how it looks. I really like the colors together. I also really like the stitch pattern as well. Like from far away it does kind of look like a little zigzag, which I think is really cute, but then closer up you can kind of see that there is just like a really nice stitch definition. But yeah, I'm really loving it. I think it's a fun color combination. I think it's a fun stitch. It is like, it's not boring, but it's just because where I'm working in the round and my rows are so long, it's just kind of like tedious finishing a row, do you know what I mean? And like usually when I'm doing something stripy or something else, something that's like a fun stitch or lots of different colors, it's a bit more exciting because I am able to change my color a little bit more regularly. But because like even if I'm doing just one row of the color, I'm like, this is kind of like long, you know? So I mean, it's fine, it is ultimately fine. I think I'm just used to some of my crochet pieces being a little bit more exhilarating, I guess. Not exhilarating, I feel that's a bit of an extreme word, but like, I don't know, just a little bit more exciting as I'm doing the actual stitch. But the stitch pattern is fun. It is nice and repetitive. It's a one row repeat as well, so it's very, very simple, but it has like a good, it has like a, it's like simple technique, but like high impact in terms of how it looks. So yeah, that's my update. It's going really, really well. I am, what did I watch yesterday? Oh, I had like a proper movie marathon yesterday. I literally had like a proper crochet day. So I watched like 4 different movies yesterday. I started off with one battle after another. The second movie I watched was I Know Who Killed Me with Lindsay Lohan. The third film I watched was Sketch, and then the fourth film I watched was May December. But yes, I watched all 4 movies yesterday. And today I think I'm gonna maybe watch some anime, maybe watch a couple more movies. I started watching Skate the Infinity, which is such a like, it's not like bad, but it's also not like great. It's like, it's just like cheesy, happy fun. My partner skateboards, and some of the things that like they're referencing in the show, I'm like, oh, I know what that is, or like, you know, I've had this done before. So it's quite funny seeing skateboarding in an anime, especially where it's like in a kind of fantastical world, you know, where it's like this is not real life. This is not how actually skateboarding actually is necessarily. But yeah, that's my update. Random movie and TV tangent, as there always usually is in my vlogs. But now I'm gonna go continue crocheting, and yeah, I'll keep you posted. Okay, so I thought I'd do a little try on. I moved too fast. I thought I'd do a little try on to just see where I was at with the length. And it's looking really nice. Like, this is the fit that I think I was like trying to describe earlier, where it's like, it's fitted, but it's not tight. I think I'm ready to do some underarm shaping. I'll probably give it like maybe 1 or 2 more rows for the like v-neck part. I say v-neck, but it's not really like a proper v-neck. It's just like a tiny bit for the little lace up thing. Here's what it's looking like at the back. Pretty simple, because I'm trying to think what kind of back I want, because I've thought a lot about the front, where I want it to be a rounded neckline, apart from obviously the little V bit where the tie will be. I want it to be not strappy. I will have like a tank top style straps, between like 2 and 3 centimeters, maybe like 2.5 centimeters thickness of the strap. And in the back I will probably do like a scoop as well, but not as low as the front, you know, so like a higher scoop. Maybe I'll have it a bit more full. I don't know, I haven't decided. Yeah, I think if I do it a bit more full with a tiny, like a very small scoop at the back, that will actually be more preferable for me, because then I'll feel a little bit more covered. So working up really quickly. Like, I worked on this, started it yesterday. obviously messed up at the beginning, so I had to restart it, but started it yesterday, so worked on it for probably about, I don't know, maybe like 6 hours in total, maybe a bit less actually. And then today I've been working on it for like 2 hours, 2.5 hours I'd say. I mean, I reckon in the next few days actually I might end up having this finished. Also, in terms of the yarn I have, I will definitely have enough yarn. I think, I don't know why, but I was getting like really worried that I wasn't gonna have enough yarn. I think, like I said before, I'm used to doing any like tops and stuff in panels, and I'm not, or like in smaller kind of increments, so I'm not used to doing any like summary tops in the round. So I was like, oh, it's actually using up a lot more yarn than I was expecting it to. But now looking at the amount of yarn I have left, I'm like, oh, I will have more than enough. That's my update. I think I want to start again, not fully, but just like the V part, the kind of bust area and the straps that I've done so far. So I had made a start on like the back bit because I felt like I'd finished with the front, and whilst it's not bad, it's not really like what I was going for. And I think like I kind of sat with it for like a few days. Like I haven't crocheted this for like 5 days, 6 days, and honestly if I just like crocheted it from the last time, I could have probably finished it by now. But in my head I was like, something isn't, I'm not vibing with it in the way I was expecting to vibe with it. So I was like, I need to kind of just have a little bit of distance from it. Usually when that happens, it means that there's like a creative kind of issue with the piece and I don't really know, or I don't really have like the headspace to address it. So I typically will just like put it to the side, not crochet it, or not crochet anything for like a few days or however long it takes for me to be like, I'm ready to address it basically. And sometimes I think like with creative things and things that like I'm trying to create, I do go through that kind of cycle. Like I wouldn't call it like any sort of creative burnout. It's definitely not as like all encompassing as I think creative burnout is, which is something I've experienced, but like not with crochet and not for like a very long time. But I feel like with this piece in particular, I was just like, I'd done it so fast. Do you know what I mean? Like I did the bottom kind of part of the top really quickly. I'd done like the straps and the front part like in a day, you know, so all kind of built up really, really quickly. And then as I was kind of looking at it and looking at it a bit closer and like trying it on and stuff, I was like, something isn't just like, it's not what I envisioned coming to life, but it's like it almost is. So it was like I knew that there were elements of it that are what I wanted and how I wanted it to come to life, but there were elements that I didn't. And at the time I was like, I am not in the mental capacity headspace to figure that out right now. So I just needed to put it aside, take a little bit of time, and now I'm ready to kind of like figure out what it is that I'm not fucking with. So yeah, like I said, I finished the front kind of part of it, and I think at the moment, firstly, I know that I've done the V a little bit too low. When I kind of tried it on, it was like, it wasn't booby, but it showed more of my cleavage than I wanted it to. I don't want this to be like a strappy top. I do want it to be like a tank top that I can kind of comfortably wear in the summer without like showing that much skin, if that makes sense. And this is like not me being a fucking prude or anything, because trust me, I've got some skimpy little tops for the summertime, but I just want one that's like a little bit more full coverage in that sense. And yeah, I know that I have done the V a little bit too low. I also like the way it's kind of worked up is that it is very much a V neck, and as much as like there is a V for the little kind of like stringy bits, it's like, it's almost like it's a round neck, and then it's got this like slit cut into it. And I think I was like trying to do that, but because I had done the V for quite a few rows, like the V is quite deep, when I did kind of straighten it up, it didn't kind of give that like straight look that I wanted. So that was like another thing where I'm like, it's not really like as accurate to the inspiration, but also like what I liked from the inspiration in the top, you know. So it's definitely, at the moment, it's like this is a v-neck tank top or a v-neck top, and I don't want it to look like a v-neck. I just want it to have that little slit in there so I can kind of tie the ties through it. So that's another thing that I'm like, not really sure. The second thing is that because of the kind of deeper v-neck, it is giving more like strap top, and I do want it to give tank top, and I do think that there is a difference. Whilst these straps are thicker than most kind of strappy tops that I have, I want it to be more full, you know. Like, I think especially on the sides I decrease quite a bit there, and I think I don't want the decreases as deep. I do want it to be a little bit more full coverage on the side, a little bit more full coverage on the kind of bust chest area, and I do want it to be tank top. I do have a couple of tank tops that I really like the fit of, which you've probably seen me wear like a bunch of times. I've just pulled out this one just to kind of like see the construction of it, really. Like, this one's got like a little kind of like cutout bit here, so you probably see me wear this like a million times. But yeah, I really like the way this fits, and I think the cutout actually sits quite perfectly where it's like just at my bust. So I feel like I'm gonna just use this one as a little guide, because it does have like a round neck, but then also it has this little pattern, so that I can kind of use this pattern as like where the V will go and then straighten it up, sort of thing. I won't do the V as deep as this little cutout bit, probably a little bit shorter, but I think I'm just going to use this as a little guide, and refer to the photos a little bit more, because I think like I was just doing it and I wasn't really referring to my source inspiration. Also, like for the back of it, I do want it to be like pretty full. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Like I said, I think I was just like working on it a little bit too intently for like several days in a row, and it was like I was getting to points of the top that I wasn't expecting to get to, because it was working up a lot quicker than I was expecting it to. So like I had to address the neckline and the straps and stuff earlier than like my brain was ready to, if that makes any sense. I was just like, I was just doing it, you know, so I wasn't actually like thinking any of it through. Well, I did to an extent, but like in terms of my inspiration and the fit, I wanted that sort of thing. So yeah, I'm gonna frog the strappy bits. I think I'm gonna just like work on the back part for now, because that part is okay, because I've literally just started it. So I think I'm gonna work on the back bit, and then I will kind of do that to the length of the straps, because I like the length of it, like in terms of the fit of it, but in terms of the V and the, you know, the front part that I've already mentioned, that part does need to change. I'm also like really still undecided if I want to do a pattern. Like, I think when I had this idea last year, I was like, oh, this would make like a really great pattern, especially for people who do also love the anime. And like, I keep kind of toying between doing a pattern and not doing a pattern. Like, I think like I'm at the moment, I currently have 2 pattern tests going on at the same time. Part of me says like I can't be bothered. Do you know what I mean? Like, as much as I love writing patterns and I love being able to share my pieces with you guys, pattern testing and the whole pattern testing period is very exhausting. Like, mentally it's very, very tiring, particularly that I've got 2 on the go at the same time. Like, that was a very crazy notion from me. But yeah, it's quite a lot at the moment. So like, the idea of like writing a pattern for this and having to go through the testing period all over again is like not really very appealing to me right now. I don't know how I will feel, and obviously in this video I'm sure I will have said if I am or aren't going to do a pattern for it, but at the moment I'm like, I really don't want to. But I think it's just because I am like a little bit tired from it, from doing the kind of pattern writing and pattern testing period. And like, yeah, it's just and this is no shade if you are a pattern tester of mine or have been, but like, it is tiring, you know. Like, I've got to write the pattern, and then like it's like a lot of social interaction, and like I've kind of got to be like on call essentially, like quite a lot, and it's just very draining for me in terms of the social aspect and the interaction with people, like a lot of people that I usually wouldn't experience on like a day-to-day. So at the moment I'm just fucking tired, guys. I'm really tired. I'm gonna like leave the top as it is, carry on with the back panel. I'm gonna watch the second part of Bridgerton. I watched some of it yesterday and I cried so fucking much, man. And I'm gonna watch more Bridgerton and probably cry. So I'm gonna finish the top. I'm gonna work on it. It's gonna be really good. And like, I think I've been very much honoring my feelings about crocheting this top. Like, I will never force myself to crochet. I will never force myself to do something creative that I'm not feeling in the mood for, you know. Like, I think the only times I've ever done that is if I'm like crocheting something for an event, which I've done like twice in my life, sort of thing. If I'm not feeling it, I won't crochet. If I'm not feeling like the creative spark, I won't force myself to. I think that's kind of like a crazy notion too, because crochet for me is my creative expression and my creative outlet, and whilst I do have others, this is like very much the main one that I do pretty much every day. But I gave this a rest for like 5 days, 6 days. I feel like good that I've stepped away from it and I'm not forced myself to carry on with it for like absolutely no reason, especially where I was kind of like, well, if I carry on, like, I am gonna finish this, and I don't want to finish it and then be like, I fucking hate it, you know. So I was like, I need a break, and I'm really glad that I've kind of like honored my feelings towards it, because like I don't want to hate crochet something. I don't want to crochet it just because I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake, I've got to get it done. Like, that sounds miserable, and I will like never subject myself to that kind of way of thinking. So yeah, I'm glad that I listened to myself and the way I was feeling and didn't pursue it, didn't carry on with it or force myself to do it, because I would have hated it, you know, and then I definitely would not have made a pattern for it. So yeah, I'm feeling a lot more inspired. I've kind of looked at the pictures of like Eren Yeager's top a little bit more. I've got my own tank top, which I'm like, I love the fit of it, I love the way it kind of feels on me and stuff like that, and now I am ready to kind of tackle it a little bit more in a creative and fun way. I finished it. Apologies in advance for how nasal I sound. I'm like coming off of the end of a cold and like hay fever. It's just, yeah, I feel okay, but my nose is telling the world otherwise and it's just very blocked. So I'm going to sound very nasal for this debrief, but I have finished the top and I think it turned out so fucking cute. So I paired it with this really cute green maxi skirt from Lucy and Yak, and I think it goes really nicely together. Although there's no green in the top, I feel like this colour is just very complementary to the whole colour palette, and this is like a very cute spring summer outfit that I would absolutely wear if the weather was a little bit warmer. I am so excited to wear this for spring and summer. I have so many
like other skirts and trousers and shorts and stuff that I think would go so nicely with this top. I feel like as well it will be a really good like transitional piece to wear with just like a pair of jeans or like a pair of trousers or something a little bit heavier on the bottom. So if it's like a little bit warm out, this would be really cute. I can't remember what my last update was. I think it was like just before I blocked it. So when I actually finished the top, there were so many ends that I was like, the finishing details that I kind of needed to do like around the neckline and the arms and the bottom and stuff, I was like, I actually can't really see the neckline and the armholes and like the bottom bit properly because there was just so many ends. So I personally like blocking my pieces before I've woven in the ends, just because I prefer weaving in the ends afterwards. I think it makes a little bit more sense, and like I think like blocking a piece which has woven in ends kind of like, it doesn't allow it to relax as much as it could, if that makes sense, because there's like a weaved end in the way. So I wanted to block it first, then weave in the ends, and then do my finishing touches, because there was just so many and I was like, it's kind of like stressing me out a little bit how many ends there are, and like I can't really see the neckline as fully and as properly as I want to. But I did do like a try on and stuff, so I knew the sizing and stuff would be fine. There was nothing that I needed to change in terms of the actual construction of the top. So I blocked it, waited for it to dry. It dried really, really quickly. Once it was blocked, I wove in all the ends. Weaving in the ends took me about like 3 evenings. It took such a long time. Like obviously I wasn't changing colours on every single row, but I was using like really scrappy leftover little bits of yarn. Some of them, like when I was using it, it was like not even finishing a whole row. So not only did I have all of the ends from all of the colour changes, but I also had like lots of other ends from the small amounts that I was using. And I was trying to use those small amounts because like I would much rather have like one bigger ball of one colour than have like 5 tiny little balls. So I was trying to kind of use those on purpose, but obviously it led to having a bajillion more ends. And yeah, it just took me a really long time to weave in all the ends, like literally across 3 evenings. So probably like, I don't know, maybe 2 hours per evening. So it was like 6 hours maybe. As much as I don't mind weaving in ends, and like I do think it's part of the process, and like it's not that much of a bother to me, it's obviously not fun, you know. Like I don't mind it because I can just stick on a movie or a TV show or like chat to my partner or whatever. I can just kind of do it quite mindlessly. But of course I'd like much rather be crocheting. So yeah, it took a really long time to weave in the ends, and then once they were all done, I did all the finishing touches. So I did a couple of finishing rows around the armholes on both sides, and then I did a couple of finishing rows on the bottom of the top as well. And then for the actual neckline bit, I did in this kind of darker purple, and then added the cute little tie detail, which is obviously like the whole kind of inspiration point of the original top from Eren Yeager. I think like if you're expecting this to be like an exact replica of his top, that's like not what I was going for. I actually don't know if I kind of made that clear, but it was more the neckline that I was inspired by, and I took inspiration from that and turned it into a tank top. Other than that, this has got like no relation to Attack on Titan at all. But yeah, in case you were wondering, it's a very loose inspiration. I literally just saw the neckline of his top and was like, that would be cute, and wanted to turn it into a tank top. So here we are, we have the Titan tank. Fit wise, it's exactly what I wanted, a nice cropped tank top, not particularly booby. I've still got the fun little neckline, but I can kind of wear this comfortably in like a work situation, or like, you know, it's not necessarily revealing. And then for the back, I obviously went for like a full kind of tank top, and did some armhole shaping, and it, yeah, I can feel comfortable wearing like a bra top with it. It's not super strappy or anything, which is what I wanted. I'm really glad that I decided to change the original neckline that I did, because I know that that wasn't the finishing kind of neckline that I wanted, and I think I would have been like ultimately a little bit annoyed and been like, oh, this isn't actually what I intended to make. So yeah, I'm really glad that I kind of just like took a little break from it and reassessed how I was feeling about the top and the things that I needed to change, and like when I was in a better mood and mind frame to kind of think creatively like that, and also logistically, because it's not just like, oh, I need to think creatively, it's like I actually have to like use my brain a little bit as well, where I have to logistically think like, okay, well, how do I create this neckline that I actually want to make? So yeah, I'm really glad that I kind of like gave myself that space, because now it's exactly how I wanted it to look. In terms of how much yarn I have left, this was clearly a scrap busting, stash busting project. I had, like I said, a lot of this leftover scrap cotton yarn from some older frogged projects, some projects that I just had it left over from, and yeah, I wanted to utilize as much of it as possible. I didn't use all of it, which is kind of annoying. Like, I would have loved to have used all of at least like one color, but with some of them there's like minimal amounts of the color, so I definitely still have the most amount of the kind of goldish color, and there was still just so many tiny balls. Like, I really tried to use so many of the tinier ones, which obviously led to me having more ends to weave in, but I still have some left. The purple color, not hardly any of this color left. Like, I don't even know, that's probably like fucking 20 grams, probably a bit less, but yeah, I used up a decent amount of this kind of dark purple, or this like kind of maroony purple, which I'm really pleased about. And then for the lilac, this is all I have left. Lots of tiny little balls, which again I tried to use up. And then for the kind of tealy color, I only have a little bit of the blue. So with the orange, I did actually have more than what I like had assigned to this top. I think I had like a full 50 gram skein, and I did kind of need to dig into that full 50 gram skein for like the top areas of the orange, because I was like, I don't want to not include it in like the top half of the top, if that makes sense. So yeah, I technically do have some orange left over, but it's not like what I assigned to the project, if that makes any sense. But yeah, I managed to use up a decent amount of yarn, still got some left, so it's going to be another scrappy project coming soon, because like there's such minimal amounts, and I'm like, I really want to use it all, you know, and they're fun colors, and it's like a beautiful cotton yarn, so I will utilize it, of course, as I always do. But yeah, there is some leftover, and like that's okay. I'm okay with that. I use a lot of the yarn that I had assigned to this project. So throughout this video, I have kind of been umming and ahhing about whether I want to do a pattern for it. I have decided I will be doing a pattern for this top. I am calling it the Titan Tank, and there is a tester application form in the description if you would like to apply to pattern test this for me. All of the information will be in the form in terms of dates, turnaround time, that sort of thing. It is going to be an 8-week pattern test, so you basically have 2 months to crochet your own Titan tank. All of the specifics that you need will be on the application form. I think if you also have some scrap yarn and do it stripy like this, that would look sick. You don't have to do it striped. You can do whatever color palette you want. It's entirely up to you, but the main kind of attributes of this top is that it's a tank top. It has this fun like tie detail with like this little kind of like grounded v-neck. It has a full back, and it's sleeveless. They're the kind of main things. You can make it longer, you can make it more cropped, you can do whatever you want in terms of the fit, because it is a made to measure pattern. So especially if you are plus size, I think this is going to be a really fun pattern. If you are interested in testing, the application form is in the description. I'm really pleased with this. I'm like, wow, I actually managed to execute it exactly how I wanted to execute it. I have no negative things to say. I obviously had like a little blip in terms of like the kind of neckline area, but like that's no big deal. Part of the creative process, and I'm really not that bothered. I don't mind frogging to achieve something that I actually want to achieve. So yeah, this is the finished Titan tank. Like I said, if you would like to pattern test this for me, you can find the application form in the description. If not, in about 8 weeks there will be a pattern available. And yeah, if you would like to grab the pattern in about 8 weeks, keep an eye on my socials, because I will no doubt rant and rave about it there. But thanks so much for hanging out with me while I crocheted this top, and I'll hopefully catch you on the next one.